Hey everyone, Matron here bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This time the best of 3 series between Loner, spawning as the blue Terran, and NEXGenius, spawning as the red Protoss. This will be the winners bracket finals of Blizzcon 2010. The winner of this best of 3 series will move on to the grand finals of this tournament. The loser will be sent to the consolation bracket and have to win one more series to make it to the grand finals. We've already seen tremendous play from both of these players so far. NEXGenius has knocked off Select, Luffy, and White Ra on his way to this winners bracket finals. Loner's knocked off K-Pak, Huck, and Sen on his way to these games here. So both players knocking off very highly rated North American players in Huck and Select. Two players we've seen in IEM and in MLG do very well. So we'll see which player is better in this PvT matchup. Loner did beat Huck 2-0, so his PvT may be quite strong. NEXGenius did take 3 games against White Ra. So we see NEXGenius doing the 13 gateway. So that's mild timing for that gateway, possibly a little bit late, especially for a small rush distance map like this. A lot of players will go for the 11 or 12 gateway, get out that first cell a little bit faster and try to deny the scout. So we see both players sending the scout across the middle. Loner did hit that watchtower. Pylons being spread for NEXGenius here. We'll see whether he throws up a cybernetic score or goes for 2-gate pressure. 2-gate is not really something we've seen much in this BlizzCon tournament. NEXGenius getting on that assimilator right away and the cybernetic score going down, so we will be able to get a Stalker and the warp gate tech up with the gas timing there. See the probe of NEXGenius in Loner's base doing as much harassment as possible. Loner throwing up a number of supply depots along the mineral line here. He will be able to raise these if any sort of early pressure comes in. We often see players place supply depots in and around the gas. Not only can they raise them to cut off an avenue of attack later on, but this also reduces the amount of time that the SCVs are traveling, as that SCV is just able to get right back mining. One disadvantage to blocking off the ramp is the SCVs have a lot more travel time between the building of the barracks and the supply depot and getting back to mining or harvesting the gas. We do see the Stalker coming out for NEXGenius as well as the warp tech. Be interested to see what this next building for NEXGenius is, whether he goes for a higher tech, some sort of Stargate, or a robotics. It looks like instead he's going to favor a Nexus, so a fast expand coming for NEXGenius here around the 4-minute 20-second mark, and he's going to want to deny the scouting for Loner as long as possible. NEXGenius really able to take advantage of the timing here of the Terran player. As the Terran player does try to throw down the reactor and the tech lab on these barracks, he's not able to get out as many units as it would need to bust this early expansion of the Protoss. So this is a timing that a lot of Protoss use against Terran, as they are getting these reactors and tech labs up on the barracks. We would possibly see Stim coming. Yes, here it comes. So again, Loner is not going to push out until he has a number of units and also Stim complete. So NEXGenius's Nexus will finish by that time, and he will have warp gate tech as well as 4 warp gates up by the time Loner is able to move out with the Stim Marines. We see mostly Marines coming out for Loner, just one Marauder at this point. He is working on that Stim first, favoring that over the concussive shell. Now getting down the factory as well, so we'll see whether he goes straight for medevacs to support his Marines and the one Marauder there. Again, building his supply depots. Nice little neat line here. Very nice sim StarCraft. If we throw up the production tab, it looks like Loner is not getting out his expansion quite yet. Oftentimes we see the Terran player respond with a command center of his own, but he has not yet scouted, just now scouting, having to waste a scan as he did lose that SCV to those few Stalkers from NEXGenius. Now he sees this Nexus, and we'll see how fast he pushes out. It looks like he's going to push out right away. He does not yet have Stim complete. It's going to time quite nicely here. He needs to wait for stim and then move out 30 more game seconds. So we see NEXGenius warping in more units. He knows the attack is imminent. As that scan just went down, it can often give away the Terran's intention. Warping in a number of pylons, trying to keep the choke small here. As they're moving in with these Marines, stim not yet finished. Stim is about to finish. Some great force fields from NEXGenius here, able to get the front Marines with these Zealots. Now doing a nice split loner is with these Marines that were captured on the left-hand side. And now coming in, he does have stim, so he has to be very careful. No medevacs yet. Stimming up. All of his units are very low. Going to try to take down these units, but the probes are coming off for NEXGenius. Going to be able to push back these remaining Marauders and Marines. Speaking, it's hard. So now we see it. Immortal coming out for NEXGenius here. A good reaction to the Marauders there. Not sure what Loner's group composition is going to be in the future. He does not yet have concussive shell. It looks like he's not working on it either, so he may be favoring these Marines. If that's the case, the Immortal is not going to be very good against the Marines as they attack very quickly, able to eat through that shield, and no bonus damage as the Immortals do bonus damage versus armored Marines, just light units. We saw some expertly placed force fields there, very good spread, and they were able to cut the Marine force in half. The Zealots were able to get at those front Marines. They weren't able to kite. Now we see pylons coming in. It's good placement here. Most players like to place at least one pylon to the left of this grass. Maybe see the Terran player throwing down a number of supply depots here as well. Just for vision, you don't want any sort of air attack or some sort of proxy being thrown back there. See Loner moving out now with a dropship. We have 2 Marauders and 4 Marines coming in here. They may be able to do some damage to important structures, possibly picking off a warp gate or maybe a pylon. See how fast NEXGenius is able to react. Here comes the attack, just now reacting. This pylon is going to go down to these units. He could pick these units up right away with this medevac and just get right out of dodge there. So he's going to do sort of some guerrilla attacks. NEXGenius is going to have to replace that pylon at 75 of 76 food. His warp gates will not be able to do another cycle until that pylon comes up. It looks like the medevac is going to be caught here, as NEXGenius did see the angle of retreat from that medevac and was able to pick it off. We see quite the sizable army for NEXGenius moving out now, 1925 to just 1,000 for Loner. Loner is trying to get up this the second command center, get this natural up and going. He has a mule down already. If we look at the income tab, 42 harvesters for NEXGenius, quite the economic advantage. The mule has evened it up a little bit, as we see the army of NEXGenius pushing in here. If he can get a few good force fields, he may be able to do some great damage to Loner. Loner just does not have enough units, as he lost so many units in that initial attack. If we look at the units lost tab, 2,000 units to 1,300 resources for NEXGenius, which is about the difference between the two armies right now. Loner throwing down a number of bunkers, going to be very strong. Looks like he's putting the supply depots ahead of the bunkers, going to try to limit the amount of room that NEXGenius has to work with. Looks like we do have extended thermal lance and the first Colossus out for NEXGenius. So that robotics facility, as NEXGenius has side-capped himself, the robotics facility was just making way for the robotics bay, now working on the extended thermal lance. Like to see him perhaps chrono boost it. He has full energy on one Nexus and at least one more chrono boost on his natural. If he can finish off this extended thermal lance quickly and get up the other Colossus, he could perhaps do a good timing push. The Terran player will not have much in the way of defense, and with the extended thermal lance, he's going to be able to do great damage against the Marines and Marauders. So we do see the cybernetics, the chrono boost being used on the Colossus now. So a second Colossus coming out, throwing down some forward pylons. NEXGenius wants to make sure he's not going to side-cap himself anymore. If you look at the resources for both players, both very low. NEXGenius is giving away the fact that he has this Colossus now, so we may see some Vikings in response from Loner. He does have the reactor on that starport. Looks like he's getting up a fourth bunker, another reactor, so pushing out quite the bunker, the barracks units. NEXGenius' second Colossus has finished, now working on his third, as the second Colossus comes and joins this army here. Now going to be doing some harassment, that long range, 9 range with the extended thermal lance on these supply depots. Loner cannot afford the supply depot to go down, as he is at 122 of 126, trying to move his army into position so that he can come in here and snipe these Colossus. Great positioning of the observer for NEXGenius, as he is going to try to do as much damage as he can, taking down a few Marines there as their corpses are burning away to nothingness. So NEXGenius just doing a few guerrilla attacks here, able to take down a few of the Marines, and that's just going to weaken the army of Loner for this eventual attack. We do have 1 Viking on the field. It's going to try to get a flank on these now 3 Colossus, as we see a 4th Colossus and Zealot legs coming for NEXGenius. We're going to see a push in here. Loner going to do his best to pull back and kite this army, but these Colossus are just so strong. We see some force fields going to trap a number of Marines and Marauders. The Zealots going to tear through them quite quickly, as the Colossus are just not going to be able to be focused down by these Marines and Marauders. Vikings doing its best to try to lower the Colossus health. 1 Colossus about halfway dead now. Another Colossus being focused down nicely by Loner, but Loner just does not have enough units to stand up to the Zealots and the Stalkers of NEXGenius. So NEXGenius able to take this first game. He had a good fast expand there, able to take advantage of the timing of the Terran player, a little bit delayed putting out units. Once he did see that expansion go down, he tried to push out as quickly as possible, but NEXGenius was able to support and repel that initial attack and take the economic advantage, eventually taking up the Colossus, which are a hard counter for that Marine and Marauder ball. Loner was not able to get up Vikings quick enough to counter the Colossus, but now that both players see the general strategy for the opposing player, we may see Game 2 play out a little bit differently. We'll see what both players do, as I will be casting that game. Thanks for watching this Game 1 of the Winners Bracket Finals in Blizzcon 2010. Look forward to seeing you in the next game. Here we go.